Okay, I wasn't recording, but I've been getting these zombies. We don't have anything on the server. We don't have any mods that alter the health of any of the mobs here. I critted him twice with a Smite 6 axe, so I know for a fact that he actually had 72 health. What is happening? He also broke and stole my door, so like now I don't have a door. I guess I could just go get another door. I don't know. I kind of want to keep him. Like he's got so much health and he won't despawn obviously because he's holding my door. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Oh. Well, that's something you don't see every day. Now that is a big old building. That thing is bonkers. Welcome back to Vi Plays Create on the MakeShift SMP, and I have been cooking. Not in the building sense, I've been actually literally cooking because Matter Shop still doesn't have any freaking egg sandwiches in it, and I'm so sick of being starving and not having like a stock of food. Also, been organizing the ender chest a little bit here and there, and I wanted to have like a whole shulker box that I can have for consumables. I made myself a ton of chicken soup. I got some ratatouille from Nuka. You know, I put my breeze charges in there and like some XP I can use to mend my tools and stuff. And so like, I just want to be a little bit more organized because there's so many starter projects that I have to do around spawn before I can really move on to my mega base. And in order to actually get this this mutton wrap situation going, I went ahead and threw in this like right here. It's like a little minecart that runs back and forth. And I originally built this for string so that I could farm flax, and I just switched it over just to have the cabbage. And since my base is chunk loaded all the time, that right there below the cabbage seed is rich soil, meaning that every once in a while it'll get a little bit of a bone meal effect, meaning that even if I'm not around and I'm not random ticking the area, because that's what you have to, like, in order for crops to grow, they have to random tick, and a player has to be nearby, right? Yeah, I'm not nearby. That's chunk loading this, and the rich soil is replacing my random tick need for, you know, just bone mealing it every once in a while. And I have a really good amount of cabbage in here, which is really nice. 281, and the stack that I just pulled out. Like, that's so awesome. I just have like tons of cabbage now. This is great. And I recently discovered a really cool mechanic with this the skillet and basket combo. Baskets will pick up items out of the world like a hopper. It just picks them up, right? Super cool. And it's the size of a barrel. So it's essentially a hopper that's way bigger. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to use that, but I want to use that somehow. And it'll eject the items, and it always ejects them to the right. And when it does, it gets picked up by the basket. That's so cool, right? And the same thing actually goes for the cutting board too. I've been using Farmer's Delight for kind of forever, and this is just a feature that I never knew existed. Like, come on, that is so cool. And with it being directional, wait, if I slide items into that, what? It can pick them up from the front? Like, that's so cool. How have I never known this? But I'm getting distracted. Today, we're doing starter island stuff. Some of it does in fact need to be building because I kind of brought this up in the last episode and then never brought it up again. It's because I was going to try and do this both in the same episode. It's fine, whatever. This I dug out before the last episode because I want to make this entire area a spaceport. I want to have like little buildings and things, like not necessarily for farms because again, I'm really trying hard not to build farms here at spawn. I really don't want to produce any more lag than we need to. I'm saving all of my farming stuff for the mega base. But this place should be decorated. It really, really needs to be decorated. And so I picked out a gradient. Actually, a couple gradients. And I planned to do a live stream, and then I did do that live stream. I was going to decorate this area a little bit, and then I didn't decorate it at all. You can go watch K-Sauce video to find out what we actually did. It was my first stream back in like a really long time, so I'm blaming it on my rustiness. But what I want to do now is I want to get this place decorated out with some nice rocks and things that I can build kind of some infrastructure around. I want this cliff face to look way better than it did before. And I think I'm going to do that in a bit of a whoosh. You ready? You ready? Okay. Whoosh. And there we have it. We have a brand new layout for this entire area. I wanted it to be a little bit rocky, which is why I made a bunch of rocks in the side of the cliff. Now, this isn't going to be the final way this looks. I'm going to add little compartments and things in here so that it kind of looks like we have a place for our workers to live because this thing needs some repairs. And I want to be able to like have some sort of station that can kind of support the infrastructure needed to repair the ship, right? That's kind of what I'm going for. Like, this is obviously docked. And I'm pretending like nothing's lifting this up, right? I'm pretending pretending this is levitating via like Star Wars style. You know how any sort of transit that's not like an actual space cruiser or spaceship, something like that, all of those, like they just kind of hover, and there's no like power making them hover. They just hover. Obviously we have those engines there, but they don't really look big enough to hold up this entire ship. So I'm pretending this thing can just hover. I guess. I don't know. Maybe we can do some sort of infrastructure to make this actually held up in the air. But for the most part, I kind of want to stay down here today. I think I'm going to do some things to kind of scaffold up, some place to like have like a platform that people can stand on, but I want that to look man-made. I wanted this to look all very like alien, but like natural sort of rock structures. But I do want to have like some sort of elevated platform that we can have like maybe even hexagonal or octagonal, something that's like up toward the top of the cliff face, held up by some girder structures, which is why I grabbed a little bit of this. And I want to mark out maybe 2x2 or 3x3 poles to kind of like hold up that structure. So yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to center them if they're 3x3 pillars. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side over here. So it's 47 across. And if I make this like sort of circular, let's do a circle generator. I'm gonna look up a circle generator. This might be a little bit hard to pull off, but if I make it an oval, actually, this will probably be easier. Okay, and I've got a circle generator up on my second screen here, and I'm just gonna kind of trace out a little bit of a line just to kind of go off. I'm gonna use dirt for this. That works. I can make that work. Boom. So now if I go to my center point here, I can take my wand of symmetry. This thing's actually pretty fancy. It allows you to place blocks in more than one spot, and it's going to be like symmetrical. And if I shift right click after placing that down, I can say we want this to be, let's just say rectangular for now, because I don't think octagonal would work. I think it'd have to be symmetrical in both X and Z. So for now, I'm going to do it like this, and I'm just going to overlay over the top of this dirt here another layer, and it should copy that to all four sides here. And obviously this oval over here kind of got messed up, but that's okay. If I go ahead and take the wand of symmetry out of my hotbar, I should not be using it anymore. And I can go ahead and go over here to the midpoint, and I can just kind of copy what's going on here. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones, and then that. Now all I want to do is I want to give I think a few strategic like pillars, kind of like this guy right here, and I want this to look pretty sturdy. So I think I'm going to use multiple girders per. I guess this is overflowing. I have 30,000 pale oak logs. Okay, I might have been building this for a little bit too long. Oof. I switched that over so I can use pale oak in the actual build palette. This used to be mangrove, but all right, if I go ahead and put this wand of symmetry back in my hotbar, that thing reappears, and I can go ahead and place down these basalt in a fairly strategic pattern. And I place this up a block so that side would actually be up in the air. But it doesn't matter because this is under the cliff face anyway, so this pillar actually won't work. I actually probably don't need a pillar on this side because I can probably just attach to the cliff face. But for now, I can go ahead and get these 3 pillars laid out. And I want this bottom structure to go up quite a ways. I'm thinking we go at least 5 blocks. And then I can actually go back in here a little bit with some texturing and just kind of like just give it a little bit of interest, kind of something like that. And then from the top here, what I want to do is I want to do a sideways one in the middle, which means I should probably throw like a light source in here so we don't get mob spawns. Throw one of these in here like so. If I go ahead and grab out some girders though, I should be able to take one on each corner, run them up a ways, and then have some sort of segment that goes in between. Ooh, and actually maybe down here on the bottom we do this. Make it look a little bit more sturdy. Yeah, I think that could kind of work. Once we get to the desired height, which I think is going to be about the top of the cliff face, then we'll put in like a structure that'll go all the way around in the oval shape. And if I take a step back, how does that look for height? Definitely need some more segments in there, but we can totally beef this up a little bit as well. And I think I have some ideas for that, but I want to see what all 4 of these look like. So let me... And what do we feel like with this? I think that's actually a decent height. It'll give us lots of space down below here to do like lots of, I don't know, like machinery and decorations and things like that. Maybe a few storage containers. Maybe we could even like make a few ship pieces, maybe like replacement pieces or something like that. That would be kind of cool to just kind of have down on the ground here. Or maybe some speeders, stuff like that. That would be kind of sick. That was my last mutton wrap. Jeez. And you know what would kind of go hard? Oh... I've got a little bit of resin because on the live stream the other day, we stopped to buy a pale oak forest when we found one. I've got a little bit of resin. I wonder if I can make some creaking hearts. Oh, I have a few. I forgot I grabbed some. Now, I think that if they're the lit up thing, which is what I was kind of hoping I could get, I think if they're lit up, they'll spawn the creaking, which would be kind of annoying, but like also, it would go so hard. It will look so cool. So we definitely have to have like this guy, that guy, and then like one of these in between. You know, that's not as bright of an orange as I thought it was. Maybe I don't need to have that. But honestly, even just the pale oak just gives it like a really, really nice extra texture. I think it looks really good. And you know what? Maybe I'll set up a few of these so when night falls, I can actually get my hands on some more resin. And now, we have the Macaws mods, which they're awesome for these bridges that we can do, and I think they connect. So if I grab a bunch of like maybe blackstone or maybe deep slate bridges. Oh, you know what? I forgot we had these bridge supports. Wait, yo, I'm totally gonna make a bunch of these. Hold on. Oh wait, I can just cut them. Okay. All right, and then for this one, I want to pretty much follow this circle exactly. Oh, but I set it to the inside. Oh, man. Oh, I've got a solution for this, actually. Wait, I have the create mod. Any creaky boys over here? Aha. Okay, now we make a hole. I get in the hole. We fly out. I grab my sword and we swipe. Trying so hard to get me, but you can't. But you can't. And just like that, like 2 full stacks of resin. Enjoy living in the hole. All right, and now if I look down while holding the bridges, I believe I can just go ahead and build this out. Oh no, is it flat on the bottom? Oh, I thought these had like see-through bits. That's not what I want. I want these to look like grates. Or maybe I can use these for the outside? Okay, wait, maybe this isn't, all's not lost. 5. Oh, I'm not over the dirt anymore. Uh-oh. What did I do? Also, I'm not holding my wand of symmetry like a dummy. But yeah, that's what it should look like. Oh, but the wand of symmetry doesn't like whenever I place off of these, does it? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna have to like shift place all of these. And we use shears kind of like a wrench to like remove the sidewalls of these. Can I? Yeah. Can we just, nope. Can we, please. Thank you, God. And then if I shift place off of this face, it does in fact. Okay, so that's gonna be kind of annoying. And this is what the top of this looks like with the bridge going all the way around the outside. And then I threw in some of these grates here. These are the ornate grates from Design and Decor, and these are technically spawnable. So I also threw in some frog lights there. And then I aged, waxed, and cut down some copper to make a bunch more grates, just to give us a little bit of a platform to walk around on up here for our workers to be on and stuff like that. And then I started laying out a little bit of a thing. I got a little carried away building. I threw this together, obviously, and I wanted to start kind of marking out some things that I can use for separate platforms and things. I want some things to kind of link up to the different heights of the rocks. Not necessarily like this all the way around and stuff. Like I don't want tiers of this over and over again, but I want this area to kind of look like messy and like kind of just random. Also, I saw that skeleton despawn just now. Hang on. Also, I put a netherite engine in this thing. Kind of fast now. It's kind of nice. Oh my God, it's thunderstorming. Every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes. Better? No more spawning spaces, please. Ah, there's spawning spaces here. So I got a little bit carried away while I was building, and I ended up marking out like a sheet thing that I want to use, but I also wanted to get over into a coral biome and collect up a bunch of this stuff because dead bubble coral actually works really well in this gradient that I was thinking about using for the sheet. Oh my God, get away from me. So yeah, back to the build. And back over here at the base. That is the final missing piece of the gradient right there. It's kind of perfect. I wanted to have like 3 dimensions of gradient, not because the sheet is super large or anything. I don't think I'm going to actually end up using all of the blocks, or if I do, it's going to be like 1 or 2 of them. So I think I only gathered like a stack of each, but I wanted this to look textured, and this is kind of what I'm going for with the shape. I'm probably going to play around with that a little bit and try and add in walls and things whenever I can. And if these blocks don't have a wall form, I'm just going to use copycats, I think. Just for this section, I really try not to do that too much because, I don't know, I like adding limitations into my builds and things like that. So I have been tweaking and playing with the shape and trying to give it like a little bit of a wind bellow, and then changing that, and then it ended up scrapping all of it. And I think I've come together with something that I like shape-wise. And I think what I want to do now is I want to give this a little bit of a gradient. Obviously, I kind of showed this before, but I want to do, I think I want to try and include all of this gradient in that very, very small space, because this is not a big tarp. It's not a massive tarp that I can use like a lot of it. So I think I'm just going to use like maybe 3 or 4 blocks of each and just try and do the gradient as I want. And I think I might even just use one of those blocks like straight up, just to have like one little pop of color, like some sort of like reddish, brownish sort of like stain or something like that. And I think I'm going to do that right now. I've spent far too long on this draping tarp. I want to get moving on to the other things that I want to build in this area. Although I might do a little bit of this, and then perfect. Okay, maybe one more. Okay, maybe more than one. Better, much better. It's tarp gradient time. Let's go. All right, and I'm liking the look of this. It's pretty good, especially if I scoot back. Like, I mean, that looks pretty good. I like how the bottom of this actually breaks up a lot. If you look at like flags that have been up for a really, really long time, or if you have like a trailer or whatever that's covering something and it ends up getting loose and it flaps in the wind, it'll actually tear and it'll get like kind of tattered on the edge. And since this is the part of the tarp that's been moving the most as the wind blows or whatever, this part's going to get like more and more tattered, right? And then this part is a little bit more connected up here, which is a detail that I kind of liked. I kind of just wanted to highlight that. But yeah, what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop into builder mode, where I'm just going to go ham. Let's just time lapse. It's time lapse time. Okay, so I've been cooking. This thing's really cool. Now, essentially what I did here is I made a device that I could use to move over the top of like a speeder to do repairs or something like that. I want that to be something that I can use to like lift heavy parts or hold something up in the air, something like that. And I wanted a way to get up inside it. And so I assembled this as a way to get like an elevator on board. If I de-sticker that and then reassemble this, you can kind of see it twitched a little bit there. And now I can actually call this elevator down to my level here. And then if I want to get up inside without wings, I can do that. Essentially, all I'm doing is I'm taking a deployer on a sequence gear shift, turning it 360 degrees, and that is going to poke the elevator pulley one time, which disassembles the elevator, meaning that it's placed back in the world. And then whenever I want to move it with the contraption, I take this sticker block, I hit it once with a button, and that's also controlled at the control panel down there. This sticker then sticks to the elevator and carries the whole thing with it. Overall, a pretty creative solution. But it's gotta go. I've got to move it somewhere else. All I should have to do is take this, re-sticker, and this is a button I was going to try and do something pretty magical with. Unfortunately, without Steam and Rails, I can't actually assemble and disassemble trains on command with redstone, but we do have computer craft on the server, and I can ask KSaw to set me up with something that I can use to press a button, and that'll send a redstone link over to somewhere else, and then have computer craft assemble and disassemble the train. But that is something I haven't really worked out yet, so for now, whatever. But yo.
I didn't want to interrupt anything. I was just flying by.
Anything look different to you over here?
Anything different? Did you move the entire garage?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Wow, did I promise a finished starter base in this episode? I hope I didn't, because this is not happening. It's not happening in this episode. I want to get a few more structures in here before we're completely done with today, but wow, that was a huge side tangent. Also, I've redesigned the elevator a little bit, so it's way more compact. So hopefully I can actually like put things up on top of this. Be kind of cool, right? But I'm getting distracted by all the contraptions I want to make. No, it's build time. We're building. I like what I've got going so far up here with these little entrance ways, and I'm kind of thinking these are like apartments for whoever's working inside this area. And I want to continue some of that vibe down on these levels, but I wanted a way to get to them first. That was pretty important. And so I threw in this elevator shaft here, and it's just kind of perfect. It goes all the way up to my manual little airlock entrance at the top of my ship over here. Elevator shaft all the way down. It's just kind of perfect. Can I clutch this? No, I cannot. 2 hearts. Oh, these chicken soups have been terrible. I am literally out. I'm literally out. I have 16 left. That is so dumb. And with a few final components here, I don't know why I expected these to open like the door does. That would be too much to ask, huh? I should now have a fully functional elevator. I'm just gonna go back up to the top, reassemble this thing for the last time, and we're gonna test out how fast this thing goes. Looks like it's working to me. Now for whenever my wings completely break, I can come on over here, and we go bop, and we go up a level. And it puts us out here. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. Oh. I've left behind one. Okay, now when my wings completely break, I can go up 1 level at a time to all the different levels of this. And I can actually eventually set up some quarters for stuff. Maybe I'll even have my own bedroom at some point. Who knows? There's our 4th level, and I think I just got to place 1 more redstone contact up at the very tip top. And I can then go up to my ship. And off we go. I'm definitely gonna have to get some guardrails in on some of these so that people don't just walk off the edge. And now I can call it back up to the top. Ooh, that thing's quick. And now that our elevator is accessible all the way up to the ship, it'll be a little bit easier for me to get like freight items up and down, you know, whenever I get shipments of parts and things like that. And now what I want to do for the last few minutes of our episode is I think I'm gonna time lapse again. I'm not gonna do any crazy detailing on these builds, but I want to get a few like shipping containers laid out. And I gotta show you. The stack of mobile storage containers is getting a little disgusting. my storage situation is looking dire. And so I think I can kind of temporarily supplement that with a few extra deep storage bins down on the front face of this. Probably not these ones. I'm gonna make them look a little fancy. Sorry for the double time lapse. Let's go. Whoopsie daisy. I totally didn't hit record whenever I was doing the replay for this. So I guess I wasn't doing a replay for this. I just built these. For the most part, a lot of this stuff in this area, not super detailed. I mean, I did get a little bit carried away with a couple things here and there, which we're going to take a look at here in a second. But for these buildings over here, not a ton of detail work. I did a little bit of the shuffle mod, and then I just added some boxes, some windows, some things here, just rough details really. I'll end up doing probably a lot of that detail work, maybe even give them some interiors in the next episode. And I also threw this in over here, and this is a garage door to nowhere, because that is my infinite lava source. Don't let that flow in my face. So like a lot of this stuff is probably just going to be facades, but I mean, it looks pretty good so far. And there's still lots of stuff that I didn't quite get to in this episode that I want to add still. So we'll do a little continuation of that. Maybe not take up an entire episode to do all of it, but you know, a little bit of a continuation in the next episode. I threw in some big old shipping containers and then like one regular looking one right there. And I gave them a little bit of twist, you know, they're all a little off kilter. That one. And this one up here, I just used a mechanical bearing set to only place with anchors destroyed. And then I turn it a little bit with a valve. And then I just kind of change the angle depending on how I want it to look. We'll definitely get some like logos or some wording, some like digits, something to kind of give these some more personality in the next episode. But really just wanted to throw in a lot of some good shapes. And these, I like these. I like these freaking lampposts. I threw this together and I wanted to do probably a copy of this and paste it around a bunch. And it's actually kind of cool. Like it's meant to look like it's light cast down from the top. But what I did is I threw in some copycat blocks in here so the light from the frog lights here at the bottom actually do shine through, and these lampposts actually light up the area, which is kind of nice. And then I started doing some small little detail things that I can place around. I wanted to do a couple of these. These blocks from Pretty in Pink are kind of goofy, right? Because they're like transparent once you stick your head inside the hole. And I wanted to use that to my advantage. So I took some levers and I powered some pistons so these look a little bit more like feet. And then I placed redstone torches on top to kind of poke out the top to make it look like there's some sort of, I don't know, lighting on top. Pretty cool little detail I threw in there. And then whenever I built this vat of acid, I spent a bunch of time on some of these details. You can actually see this in my my awesome Cyberpunk 2077 shop over that away where we built Afterlife. It's beautiful and lovely. I really like having this sort of extra little bit of detail. You can't replicate this unless you have these sprinkler blocks, because the pipe is attempting to connect to this block, but it can't, right? And so it kind of has this like illegal block state, and it looks a little bit like some sort of processing module. Threw in some brackets to make sure we can like attach some Nixie tubes around, to use some of these gauges from design and decor. Made myself a little bit of an extra tank here to kind of hold whatever material, and added in some scaffolding and things so we can get up to the top here and have like another way to make like maintenance happen. However we end up doing that. I also added in a couple walkways so we can actually get over onto the cliff face over here, where we'll have some more, maybe some apartments entrances, things like that. Maybe a little bit of a recreation area over here, because there's like, you know, some actual space. I don't know how much recreation you can have whenever there's probably machinery and stuff running right outside your door, but whatever. And this looks like a face. It's way too easy to make faces out of buildings. Also, I took a little bit of time to make this engine lift behind me. Now, that lift would be something that I would use to work on like those engines, right? Like some sort of massive part that goes on one of the bigger spacecrafts that might be worked on here at the spaceport. And this one would be like for something a little bit smaller. Maybe like an escape module or something like that, or whatever. But this little engine block was kind of cool. It came together pretty nicely. Shout out to Kasoff for these little button things. These like kind of went perfectly. I wasn't planning to do any extra details, and he threw that on there, and it looks fantastic. And it feels crazy because I've gotten so much done in this episode, but also at the same time, like I feel like I haven't gotten enough done this episode. I suppose when you start off an episode with a massive transition where you completely redo all of the terrain in your area in like one fell swoop is probably a recipe for hello? He was right in front of me. He was looking right at me. Whatever, man. Yeah, you guys get what I'm saying. But yep, I think you know what that means. It's about time we call it. I appreciate you so much for watching. If you liked the video, like it, and if you want to subscribe, you should do it. And I'll see you in the next one. A little bit of post-credit treat for you guys who watched to the end of the episode. This spaceport needs a name. We need a name for this spaceport. It's beautiful and lovely, and while it's not done, it deserves a name that is worthy of this beautiful patrol cruiser. So if you got any good ideas, throw them in the comments. See y'all in the next one.